What's going on, R-Space fam? Time for another out-of-this-world story from R-Space. Let's dig right in. I, 36 male, souped and found out that my wife, 33 female, of 3 years, has been living some kind of sad double life and is not who I thought she was. Since my wife and I got married 3 years ago, things have been off. I know that people grow and change with time, but around our wedding, my wife changed drastically. She bleached her dark brown hair blonde right before the ceremony, and I honestly thought I was in the wrong church for a split second when I came down the aisle. We moved into our house right after the honeymoon, as she went into full domestic mode. We'd shared cleaning duties before, but once moved into the house, she became insistent on doing everything before I could even get to it. Since this is our first house, I thought it was some kind of homeowner nesting thing, but it never stopped. Her hair color is none of my business, and I think most people would be happy to not have to clean. So I honestly didn't really think much of either of those things at the time. The big thing has always been how closed off she got after the wedding. When we were dating, she'd tell me long, rambling stories about her feelings and rant to me when she was upset and all that, and I liked hearing about what was going on inside her head. After the wedding, that stopped pretty much abruptly. If I asked her how her day is, she will only ever tell me that it was fine or super. She doesn't talk to me about her feelings anymore, ever, even when I explicitly ask, "How do you feel about X?" She also stopped telling me about anything important that happened to her. About a year after we got married, her grandfather died. Did she tell me she lost her grandfather? No. She told me that she had to go to a conference for work on the other side of the country, which I thought nothing of. On the second day she was gone, her older brother texted me to tell me that my in-laws had really missed seeing me at the funeral. When I called her to ask why in the ever-loving hell she didn't tell me, and then lied about it, all she could say was, "I didn't want to trouble you. You have a lot on your plate." After that, she went on a couple of spontaneous family trips. She's really, really close to her family, so the first time she said she was going camping with her brother at their alma mater, I didn't think a lot of it, other than to be slightly disappointed and confused that I wasn't invited, because her brother's cool, and the three of us go camping together a lot. But the second time, I started hearing alarm bells. I'd like to say I'm a more secure man, Reddit, but after the second spontaneous family trip, my wheels started spinning and I started to think that maybe she was cheating. This was a weird insecurity at the back of my mind for a while. Since she wasn't showing any other big signs of cheating, she wasn't guarded about her phone and hadn't changed her routine appearance. A few weeks ago, she told me she was pregnant. I was over the moon about it until I asked her how many weeks along she was, and she nonchalantly said, "About 12 or 13. She'd been pregnant for like 3 months before she even bothered to tell me. She's not really showing at all, and she doesn't usually drink, so I'd been completely in the freaking dark. I honestly hadn't even suspected." That was kind of it for me. I was sure she was cheating, and that it wasn't my kid. I thought there was no possible way that a woman would keep her pregnancy a secret from her husband for 3 months. So I stooped. Yes, I know I was wrong, but I wanted proof that she'd been having an affair before I moved out. One of my best buddies from college is a divorce attorney, and when I asked him what I should do, he sent me the info for a keylogger. I installed it on my wife's laptop and was prepared for the worst. Now, I feel like what I found is somehow worse than her cheating. I didn't find any steamy messages, but I found out that she keeps a diary in a Word document that she writes in every day. I know I should have just stopped once I knew she wasn't cheating, but once I saw my name in her diary, I couldn't stop. I read all of it, all 7 separate documents, going back to way before we'd even met. Turns out, she's not cheating. She's depressed as all crack, hates herself, and has absolutely no trust in me. All the stuff I've been confused and bothered by has some kind of sad, self-loathing explanation. She hates having blonde hair, but she writes, "I know he'd divorce me if I went back to being a brunette, because wives are supposed to be blonde." Almost every week, the "wives are supposed to be" thing is tangled up in everything. She thinks wives are supposed to be quiet, which is why she doesn't talk to me anymore. She thinks wives are supposed to make things easier for their husbands, not harder, which is why she didn't tell me when her grandfather died. It just goes on and on and on. She didn't tell me when she got a huge promotion and a raise because he'd leave me in a heartbeat if he knew I made more money than he does. Men can't handle that. It hurt to know that she thinks of me as some kind of one-dimensional 1950s husband. I've been racking my brain to think of anything I could have done to make her think this way. What I can't handle is that she'd lied about the big stuff. I honestly don't know if I can forgive her for not telling me about the miscarriages. The spontaneous family trips were actually her miscarrying 2 of her children, one at 5 weeks, the other at about 10. She went and stayed with her parents while she was recuperating, and her brother and sister came to support her, but not me. I didn't get to be there for her because she thinks I would leave her immediately if I knew that she'd killed our children. She's convinced that she caused both miscarriages because she smoked pot for a long time before we got married. For what it's worth, it sounds like her family tried both times to get her to tell me, but she wouldn't. She finally told me about this pregnancy because her parents threatened to tell me if she didn't. I'm just absolutely freaking dumbfounded. I don't even know what to think right now. I'm just so baffled because everything she says about me in her diary is insanely nice. She goes on for pages and pages about how much she loves me and how she thinks I'm her soulmate and how she would do anything for me. I just can't understand why she thinks that I would leave her. Knowing that she spent the last 3 years walking on eggshells around me, convinced that I would leave her at the drop of a hat, is just so confusing and awful. I feel like our marriage is some kind of lie. The woman I thought was self-confident and ready to take on the world is actually full of self-loathing and really, really, really depressed. I don't know her at all. She's been suffering silently with depression long before we met. She has no faith in me, no trust. She thinks that every hug and kiss I give her and every "I love you" I say is a lie. I just don't know what to do. She obviously needs serious help, but I don't know how to get it for her. I can't tell her that I read her diary. If she has zero trust in me now, I can't even imagine what she'd think if she knew I had read 6 years' worth of her private thoughts. I feel like I need to get my in-laws on board somehow, but I don't know what to say to them. I know I can't ignore this, but I feel like any move is the wrong move. What do I do? Edit. After I posted this, I realized I'd kind of omitted the deal with the keylogger. It's worse than it sounds, honestly. After it showed me what she'd written that day, I went onto her computer while she was sleeping and opened up Word. I saw that she had several documents called Diary Year X, so I downloaded them all onto a flash drive and read them at work. I went too far, I know. Well, given the track record of this channel, I guess at least it's not cheating, but let's see how we can get this person some help, shall we? Cody Yes says, don't beat yourself up over the souping too much. 1. You knew something was badly off, and it was. You weren't being paranoid. 2. Also, she's the woman you love, whom you married, and who needs your help very, very, very badly right now. If you use the information you gained to control her, or to be abusive, or to exploit her fears, then sure, you're the world's biggest dick. But if you use the information to help her, then good. Your marriage vows probably said in sickness and in health, and she's sure as heck sick right now. Being married does mean that your spouse gets to make some decisions on your behalf in some cases, and this is a crisis. Sometimes you have to cut a corner or two. Going forward, 1. You're right, you can't just tell her. 2. She needs serious professional help, very badly. 3. I think you need to get her family on board. Basically, I think you should reach out to them behind her back. Tell them the gist, they already know a lot of it. And then between you all, you can collaborate to find a way to get her the professional help she needs. Important stuff to keep in mind. 1. This isn't really her fault, any more than having asthma is her fault. You probably feel a little hurt and betrayed that she didn't turn to you for help with this problem, but in a very real sense, the core problem is that she couldn't turn to you for help. 2. This is probably pretty urgent to fix, especially if she's pregnant. If she miscarries again, it could do a lot of damage to her. If she carries to term, she's at serious risk of postnatal depression. Either way, lives are possibly at stake. She needs help. 3. This is fixable. May not be fast, probably won't be easy, but modern medicine can do a lot. 4. Once the serious, holy shit stuff is sorted, couples counseling is probably called for. There's a lot of rebuilding that needs to be done once the two of you are capable of being on the same page. Wow, that was heavy. Let's hope for the best, and then move on. My 25 female boyfriend, 26 male, cheated on me while we're on vacation with friends. I don't know what to do. I need to lay out the relationships. Me, Emily, and my ex-boyfriend, Paul. Kara and Tyler, our boyfriend and girlfriend. Ethan and Olivia, our boyfriend and girlfriend. Jamie and Hank, our boyfriend and girlfriend. Kenny, Samantha, and other Emily are all single. Geez, I hope there isn't a quiz on this later. That's a lot to keep track of. My friends and I all decided to go up to a cabin Kenny owns. He works at the ski lodge not too far from here, teaching people how to ski, among other things. There's 11 of us staying in this cabin he owns. 2 of us share a room, and he has a sofa. He invited us all up here to have a nice time before we all go back to work. A couple of days ago, most of us went to have lunch at a restaurant. Kara stayed back, claiming she was coming down with a cold. My boyfriend claimed he was still tired from the day before and didn't sleep well. He wanted to see if he could catch a few extra hours. When we all returned from lunch, there was some sort of fighting going on between Ethan and Paul. It was a screaming match of some kind. Kenny and Tyler got between them, trying to get them to calm down. It came out that Ethan walked in on Kara and my boyfriend having sex. It turned out to be true because Kara broke down trying to explain it to Tyler. Tyler, Ethan, and Paul all started to fight again. Kenny was trying to get them to not get physical with each other. God knows where Hank was, because he's the biggest guy in our group and no one would really mess with him. He would have come in handy to stop the guys punching each other. Kenny really didn't hit anyone. He was more trying to get them to stop it. Hank almost got into a fight with Paul when he arrived because he did give Kenny a split lip. Kenny and Hank are best friends. You get the point. The guys were going at each other. Yeah, I feel like we could have summed that all up in just saying all the guys got really bad. But I digress. When the dust settled, Paul was trying to explain to me what happened. Kara was trying to explain to Tyler. They've apparently been screwing each other for over 3 months. It all started the night I went home sick from a party. They apparently had feelings for each other and were scared it would implode the friends group. They were dang frickin' Reddit dead. Ethan and Olivia, Paul and Kara, Tyler and other Emily all left the cabin. There's 5 of us here and no one really knows what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm heartbroken. My boyfriend was cheating on me with my friend. Most of my friends imploded over the whole situation. The vacation is pretty much ruined. My relationship is over. My boyfriend was screwing a close friend of mine. I don't know what to do when I get home. Paul told me he'd be gone, but I don't know. All right, you guys pine over that for a minute and the reply in the comments. I'm going to go untie my tongue from all the back and forth of all the names. Have a good one.